So my process has been, I have been documenting children from 1991 or so, because I realized that unless I document through videos and images and share with literate people, they will not believe at all what I'm trying to talk about. So it has been a process where years of documentation has taken place, and what I'm distinguishes between something called implicit knowledge creation and explicit knowledge. Implicit knowledge creation is something that is happening all the time. That when a child is engaging with the world, they are doing nothing but knowledge creation implicitly, and all the qualities of a true learner is present. They're exploring, they are scientific, they are, they have an aim, they have plan. Intelligence is growing here, developing, risk taking is happening. You name it, everything is there, provided you leave children alone. So this is the natural condition. Natural condition of learning is unknown. They're engaging with the real world. There is no ready-made information. There is no training. And natural development process at work. Their learning process is getting developed. Comprehension is happening, knowledge creation, So all this is natural ability of a child. And their qualities are getting developed, Intelligence, creativity, being open, adventurous. So how we learn and what we learn are actually biologically bound. Now, biology has been completely taken out of the modern paradigm. So the tools, qualities, attitudes, skills, even the content is dictated by biology. Illiterate create implicit knowledge of the real world, which is outside the realm of language. And this knowledge can be explicated by becoming attentive to what is implicitly known. And this is what I call as metacognition. Metacognition is not thinking about thinking. Metacognition is actually becoming aware of implicit knowledge that is inherent within us. So the best example is that how right at the age of around 3, we are all able to speak very well our mother tongue with no explicit knowledge of grammar. But we are speaking grammatically correct language, correct sentences we are making. But also, if you remember, when grammar was taught to us in 3rd standard or whichever, I don't remember, 4th or 5th standard, I think grammar was one of the most boring subjects. And finally, we ended up hating it. Of course, we tried to master it, because I think grammar gave you far more marks, because you give one answer, you get 1 mark or something like that, So we spent time learning grammar, not because we really enjoyed it, but that was fetching us good marks. And finally, where have we landed up? So what I'm trying to say is that the way thing is wrong. The way we explore self to understand life, we need to revisit children completely afresh to understand what is to be a human being. And my definition of human being is someone who is involved biologically in creation of knowledge. And in fact, I call the literates human knowings. We are preoccupied by knowledge, but we don't know how to be. So first thing that we should ask is that why children learn? To me, I would relate this to why there is learning at all in nature. And life ensures that life is sustained at all cost. That is my one of the understanding. And in order to sustain life, qualities and abilities are embedded in all living beings. Curiosity is there. Every being has. It's not a human thing. Every living being is curious. They are creative. Creativity actually means that you are responding to the unknown. That is actually what is the meaning of creativity. It's not something that is fancy that artists can do, but responding to the unknown is a creative act, which is what every living being is doing actually. And it's adventurous. There's no fear, overcoming fear. So all this is part of the part and parcel of inherently present in us. How children learn is that children recreate their experiences using whatever is available. So the first toy is their body itself. I'm sure all of you must have seen how children use their palm as a mobile phone, or how we have become vehicle, by roaming around and all that, how we treat our body itself as a toy and playfully exploring the world. So the biggest misunderstanding of modernity is that they create a product called toy to play. So they completely distort the process of making toy, which is natural part of our cognition. I will come to this little later. And children turn every activity into play because they are playful. How children learn, one more thing is that they experience the whole and explore the parts. Now, I'm talking about all this from my years of study on what are the things that children do. And this I found has a very, very clear, it's like this, that our learning of grammar, our learning of language, there was an implicit grammar present. Exactly like this, when children are learning the real world, there is a blueprint to do that. There is a grammar behind it. So this grammar is something that I began to decode after years of work. So one is that development of the cognitive system, tools, senses get awakened, process, open-ended exploration, qualities, playfulness, abilities to be open, to ability to hold out, skills, physical development, intelligence, and habits. What I mean by habits is that your neural pathways takes on a certain, so there is a different habit that neural pathways take on. Structure of the neural network. Now, all this is something that is important to a natural learning environment of a child. And how does the cognitive system get developed? So senses are the tools. You can see for every activity that a child does, they are constantly observing. That when a child is constantly observing you, how you are speaking. So this is one of the most important video that I have, where luckily, of course, in the net, I got this fantastic video in which how the child is making comparison and finding similarity and difference. In fact, this is the crux of learning, that we imbibe this information by comparing what is similar and what is different, So I'm telling that there is something called cognitive foundation, natural cognitive foundation, where sensory input is the ground. And then they connect the word and the sound. So, of course, then inference is there, imagination is there. Now, because this is a process of abstraction, and finally conceptual understanding. So it is actually going through all this, that abstraction happens and conceptual understanding happens. This is a natural process, and unfortunately we have not given any attention to this at all, actually. So I'm just taking an example. When somebody explores, I mean, when a child is getting mango, so it engages, the smell happens, the shape, color, size, background, touch sensation, taste, so it's a simultaneous experience of that. What children learn is the real world that they experience, objects, processes, household things, and all that. And again, there is a clear picture, grammar to what they learn. They learn the form, how something looks like, what is it used for, how is it made, material quality, structural stability, relationship between these things, and the context. Context is where it happens. Form. I'm sure most of you must have done this in childhood. When you got the book, you put it like this and called, this is a form. And so I ran a school for 3 years in Pune, where children were left completely free. I documented this there. So fantastic use of books, actually. And they were reconstructing the flats that they see all the time, recreation of a market. Very interestingly, this flour was used in place of bengan for brinjal, whereas they were able to get exactly this to replace the chili. Function is that I'm sure most of you must have done this, just had a bedsheet over a table and told that this is your house. So in this case, it is the function that is being explored. They are not making house, Property of material is, I'm sure you must have seen this. Every child, when they sit on a sofa, bounce. So in the school, this is iron for bouncing, and this happens in the railway stations. The children sit there and start sliding. Process is they make the house. I'm sure all of you must have done it in childhood. Whatever material available, you make house, with pillow, chair, or whatever is available. So structure, of course, is a structural stability. As you progress, you begin to learn how to put this together so that it is stable. And this doesn't happen in a linear fashion. There is a simultaneity about it. Sometimes it is looked at in fragments. So a house constructed with an exploration like that. So this is something that I'm exploring now. What is a cognitive schema? Object, sensation, form. Well, this will take a little bit more time. I'm just showing this here to